Great. So I have quite a non-linear story, and I was thinking about, how to squish all of it into 10 minutes. And I thought one way I describe myself is kind of a hat collector. I've done a lot of different things. And so I thought today I could kind of give a little bit of a overview of my journey via the different hats that I collected. And so to start off with, kind of unfortunately for me, and I think for a lot of other young girls and women, I have kind of a very vivid memory of being, I think maybe 9 or 10 in primary school and coming home with some maths homework and asking for some help from someone quite close to me. And I distinctly remember being told, well, you can't be very good at maths if you need help, and girls can't be very good at maths. And so this is kind of a non-memory until I think I spoke about this memory kind of later on in my honors year in economics. But I was kind of discouraged, I guess, from pursuing maths, and I didn't take any advanced maths as a high schooler or even in university. I kind of end up as a commerce student at the University of Melbourne, and I major in management and economics, and kind of go down this path of doing commerce student things. I end up as a business analyst at Grant Thornton in Thailand. And but it's fine, but I really liked econ. And I think part of what drew me to econ was it was another way for me to kind of come back to using mathematical thinking, because economists often borrow mathematical tools to tell stories about the world or model the world or test ideas about the world. So I end up kind of sort of becoming an economist, doing my honors year at the University of Melbourne. And so then I'm an economist, but I get quite frustrated in my honors year because I really don't have a good enough grasp of the kind of mathematical language to describe the kind of complex things that I wanted to model or kind of formalize. And so that kind of brings me to my next stage. I've kind of made my way sort of back to maths and discovered like maths is this really beautiful thing and I want to learn more. And so I kind of end up working as an economics tutor and more importantly, a research assistant. And so I kind of start off, my data journey starts as a research assistant at the University of Melbourne. Later on, I'll move to Soda Labs at Monash University. And I don't start off doing anything that I would really consider data science-y. I actually just start off building data sets. So economists often need data sets to test the kind of theories or models that we come up with. And so part of that is bringing real-world data to the models to actually test our hypotheses. And so I collected a lot of different data sets and data from all sorts of different sources, including like archival magazines and kind of like little microfiche things that had to be scanned in from somewhere in the US. And I also collected, I did some web scraping, I collected all sorts of data, but fundamental was that I was connected to lots of different projects and lots of different ways of using data. And so I teach myself to kind of code in R and Python, and I become like a data person. And eventually I start doing some kind of freelance data science work, but I'm not yet comfortable calling myself a data scientist. And one of the prompts for today was, when did you know you wanted to be a data scientist? And the truth is, I didn't know that I wanted to be a data scientist. I just discovered that I liked working with data. So as a research assistant working on all these different projects, I got interested in different ways to visualize data, different ways to kind of slice and dice the data and kind of look for stories within the data or test our ideas using data. And so I have a quite distinct memory of being introduced on an email chain as, this is the data scientist who's joining our project. And that was a very, very uncomfortable kind of cringe moment for me. But I think if anyone else has that feeling of kind of, I guess it's a kind of imposter syndrome, what helped me kind of overcome it is a couple of days later talking to a friend, I kind of had this thought, well, scientists run experiments and I experiment with data, so therefore I'm a data scientist. And I think that what I learned on my journey to becoming a data scientist is that every person's journey to becoming a data scientist is different, and everyone will have different skills. It's a very, very large umbrella. And so it's kind of up to you. It's both the exciting thing and terrifying thing that you get to define what data scientist means within kind of your skill set. So then how did I end up where I am now? So I'm now currently a PhD candidate at Monash University in the Department of Econometrics and Business Statistics, and PhD scholarship holder from the Monash Data Futures Institute. And so what I work on is kind of a bunch of things, but all of them have come out of this realization that transparency and trust and reusability in data science is kind of really integral to building trust and also just making research more enjoyable, more collaborative. And so I am a research software developer, and I work on principles and methods for data preparation with applications in official statistics, public policy, and satellite deep learning. And basically what this means is that I kind of work with practitioners. So I work with a trade economist, I work with someone in kind of public health, and then also in kind of satellite deep learning to iron out or create tools that help the data preparation process, the data cleaning and preparation process kind of go more smoothly. So I feel like I've spoken, I'm actually not sure how much time I have left. So how I kind of
you have about 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So how I kind of ended up in this work is, I think, a really important piece of my journey, which is that I was supported by a lot of very more senior people, both men and women. And so the gap from going from data scientist to PhD candidate, that was quite a big transition for me, because I always thought of myself as, well, I have this economics background, like how could I apply to a program where I wanted to do research in data stuff? And somebody I worked with at Soda Labs actually approached me and said, do you want to apply for this PhD scholarship? And I remember quite distinctly, I said in response, quote, why did you ask me? I don't know anything about anything. And I think at the time it was because the topic had something to do with machine learning, and I didn't feel like I knew enough about machine learning. But luckily I had a lot of kind of mentors in my life who helped me not only believe in myself, but kind of find a path to seeing how I, with my background, had lots of things to bring into the data science field, and helped me imagine like what I could contribute in terms of research and collaborative practice, given that I had worked on so many kind of research data projects for different economists and different teams. And so that, I think then the kind of final question the prompt that I was given for today was like, what would I like to see moving forward? And so definitely the role of mentors for me was to help me kind of imagine myself under the broad umbrella of data science and find my place there. And so I think core is this aspect of storytelling, and which brings me to one of the other hats, or kind of final hat that I wanted to talk about, which is that I'm also a host at the Random Sample podcast, where we tell stories about mathematical sciences, statistics, and data science. And for me personally, some of the episodes that I've most enjoyed kind of working on have been stories of people who have taken a kind of non-linear path into working in data science, because I think what makes the label of data scientist or statistician or mathematician kind of accessible to people is hearing people's stories about how they ended up taking or coming to that path, and taking on that label and becoming comfortable with it. And so what I would really love to see in terms of equity, diversity, and inclusion is actually more events like this, where we tell stories that maybe have different paths to becoming a data scientist. So I think that's kind of it for me today.
Thank you
thanks
very
so much for listening.
Cynthia. Thank you. That's excellent.